Hey everyone, Gamehound's happy endings, although it's not ending.
It's not ending. It's not
just
happy
when we
either.
think it's going to end, it just brings us back in.
I should be happy. I should be happy, and I'm still confused. And now there's people that are trying to make me feel bad. I'm the bad guy. Okay?
That's Holy Goalie, the bad guy. We also have Piss Boy, Steve-O Piss Boy in the room as well.
Yeah, feel free to check out our website, gamehounds.net. On Facebook, it's /thegamehounds. And on Twitter, it's Gamehounds or Gamer Goalie. Best way to get a hold of us. But yeah, so guys, the bomb drops kind of right after we recorded our Spreaker show yesterday.
Just as we were doing it, and I'm like, I want to leave. Let's go. And then, of course, as soon as we get off, then it all drops. The Xbox has completely dropped all of its DRM. Arguably, maybe one of the biggest retractions in history.
Yep. I spent all night reading articles on websites and comments between Twitter and Facebook, and boy, I tell you, it's all over the map.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
So basically, what happened? And Jason's in the chat room. Hi, Jason, and to anybody else listening. Yeah. So basically, they basically everything that come out for the Xbox One, they just swept it away.
Right.
All the changes are gone, and it's almost like this is just the 360 all over again.
Right.
For the exception of the Connect that has to be connected and maybe a couple other things. But yeah, so the big news was, fine, you guys don't want it. We had all these great things planned. Fine. We'll just give you the 360 upgraded.
Right. Trying to find the list. Essentially, used games, okay. They're going to play just like they play on the Xbox now, the 360. Sharing games, not a problem. Everything's going to run off of disk. There's going to be no requirement for internet check-ins at 24-hour intervals or more. The only internet connection you're going to require is upon setup. So you're going to have to check in with Xbox Live, just kind of pretty much what they do now, that you have to check in with Xbox Live once when you're setting it up, then it never has to be done again if you ever want to play single-player games. And they've also gotten rid of the region locks.
Yeah, well,
Kinect does have to be connected, though.
Yeah.
One thing, though, that game installments is still required. That's still a requirement when you put in your game. It's still required to install. That's one of the things that they still haven't taken out yet.
Right. Well, I don't think that they can. I mean, obviously, they took out everything they possibly could take out that was software-based.
Yeah, and then remember what they said, we can't change this. It's part of the architecture. There's no way, I know people have been talking about, there's no way we could take it out. And to me, it was like, yeah, they saw the numbers. They saw way more negative feedback that they wanted, and they got pushed into a corner.
Right. And I don't think, and a lot of people are talking about how the negative feedback was, the outcry from gamers. I do not think that it had anything to do with outcry. I think it had to do with sales numbers.
Exactly. Yeah. They saw that the pre-orders didn't quite match up to how many people had Xbox or whatever it was. But that's what really got me kind of pissed off about this, is that I'm the bad guy, is that there's people in the know. There's people for IGN and Kotaku, people that are high up on the inside that probably have got their hands on these things and touched them and talked to people. It's like a little club, and they all knew how good this was going to be. Okay? But the masses, they didn't explain it to us. Right. And we're looking at it and like, well, we don't like what we see. But in Kotaku, I was reading on there, they were blasting it. They were like, I can't believe Microsoft did this. You guys effed up. All you whining gamers, that's the term they use a lot. Whining gamers got your way. And I hope you're happy because you blew off. Instead of moving forward, we just stayed the same. So I hope you whining gamers are happy now. And I really take offense to that, because if Microsoft...
I don't think that that's what they said at all. They did what was the right thing to do, is recognizing, and this is something they should have done at E3.
Exactly.
They needed to come up and say, look, We've heard that people are concerned about this 24-hour check-in. We have heard about these problems that people have with used games or with sharing games. Let's explain why, even though you may be concerned about them, why it's actually going to be of a benefit to you. And there were lots of benefits for these things, but Microsoft never acknowledged that there was any concern within the gaming populace, within their core users. And by not addressing those concerns and kind of saying, all right, but here's what it's good for, they blew it, and they were put into a corner where they had to acknowledge that there was a problem. And in their acknowledgement, they were kind of forced. I mean, did you read Don Matrick's statement?
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah, the statement was very conciliatory. They said, we've heard your concerns. We are aware of your concerns. We take them into account. We see our numbers, and we see that this is not going to work. So we are going to pull all this stuff back. I thought it was a very good letter. But this is why Xbox needs their PR people, because the PR people that they fired 2 years ago would have said, look, you need to address these concerns at E3. Yeah. Because if you don't, you're going to have to abandon these. Sony's going to. It leaves a great opportunity for Sony, which it did. It may have been that everybody thought that Sony was going to do this stuff. I don't know. But when Sony saw 2 weeks prior to E3 that this was all happening, and saw the backlash and how badly that Microsoft rolled it out, and by the morning hadn't addressed the issues and done it in such a way where everybody went, maybe it's not so bad. They just kind of, it's like I have said a couple of times before, there's an iceberg in the way. Carry on. We don't have to worry about any icebergs. Yeah, and they needed to deal with the iceberg at E3.
And they needed to explain all their good things. And the problem was that everybody was still confused. There's the whole shared games with 10 people. If they're worried about the used game market, and that's what this whole DRM thing was about, was curbing the used game sales because it's cutting into new game sales. Are you telling me that EA is going to release Madden and Edie's going to buy it, and that means that Holy Goalie can play it, and Nick DiNicola can play it, and Piss Boy can play it, and Jason Webb can play it, and everybody in the chat room, up to 10 people that are on Edie's friends list, can play Madden, the new Madden, without buying it new, and that's not going to cut into game sales?
Right.
It made no sense. So I don't think Madden would have been on that shared game list, but they never specified.
Well, no, you put the shared game list on.
Yeah, but they didn't.
They didn't?
They never clarified that said every single game you buy on disc or download is eligible to be shared. They never, ever said that.
Yeah. I saw something last night. Patrick Talbert put it into on his Facebook page, and I read it last night right before I went to bed, and I laughed my ass off. That this is a fake article. Now I want to frame this. This is a fake article by reportedly Don Matrick. Your feedback matters. Update on Xbox One. All right, you fucking ingrates, you win. That's right. We'll drop the used game blocking DRM so you can sell a game you bought for fucking $60 back to Xbox for $7 in store credit. We'll drop the once-a-day internet connection shit too, even though all of you require constant 24-hour internet connections so you can check out all the latest reposted memes about Xbone, about how Xbone is so darn derpy, or whatever the fuck that horse cartoon is saying these days. Hell, we'll even drop the region locking, because fucking who cares at this point? Really, this was our fault. We didn't realize you just wanted the same fucking console as before. You know, the one you already own, but with slightly nicer graphics. We were trying to do something new. By forcing you to connect to the internet, we would be able to guarantee cloud support for all games, which would allow huge gaming universes that wouldn't be limited to what we could fit on a disc. By restricting these games, we would guarantee that developers who make the games make money instead of some shit stain executives at GameStop. Ha ha. But then again, I'm sure you give the same shit to Valve over Steam, right? Since they require an internet connection to download games, and you can't resell or borrow games through them, right? Oh, wait, that's right. You fucking love Steam for doing the exact same shit. Fuck. But Steam has great sales all the time, you whine. So, maybe we would have too, if you would have given us a goddamn chance instead of crucifying us 6 months before you even tried the system. Christ! Now the Xbox One and the PS4 will be virtually identical. What kind of consumer group would want choices and options that are different from one another anyhow? You basement dwellers on the internet can argue about which system is better by going over nebulously different hardware specs and a handful of exclusive titles instead of the actual substantive differences between Sony and Microsoft's next-gen console. Again, just like the last time. You are all a pack of idiot dogs, barking incessantly. I give up. I'll throw you a bone. An X-bone. Ha ha ha. Get it? I will get you fuckers back for this. I will buy every franchise you love and make it an Xbox One exclusive and make you use Bing for 15 minutes before you can play the game. Mark my fucking words. Don Matrick. Oh, P.S. Oh, you're whining about the Kinect watching you? Yeah, because we really want to watch some out-of-shape 20-something sit in their underwear and play Skyrim for 8 hours straight. You got us. You uncovered our master plan to look at your gross, horrible bodies in a poorly lit studio apartment. Jesus.
That's pretty funny.
If they had actually framed the Xbox One like that, it probably would have done better.
It probably would.
Because that actually lines up exactly what they were trying to do better than Don Matrick did at E3.
Yes, they did. You're right. Even that's a parody. That's exactly right. We did get rid of anything new, but because they didn't again, it's like they had a little club, and they all knew it's like, boy, this is going to be great. They're going to love this, but we're not ready for that. I mean, we can't go to all clouds. We can't do all downloads over the internet. Okay, we have data caps on our cable internet or whatever internet. We have to. It's not that technology is not there. It still takes hours to download games. The data caps are in place. It's just not there yet. And as far as coming down in price, well, just give us a chance. You'll see the prices will come down. Maybe, yeah. Let's pass Obamacare before we know what's in it. Then you'll know what's in it after we pass it. That's what they were saying.
Kind of.
I want to know what's in it before I accept it. So, face value, yes, you got a choice. You can roll the dice with the Xbox One and hope that all the bad stuff never comes up for you and you have a nice new system with all these shared games, or you can play it like you're doing now, like we're comfortable with, like we're used to, which is what PlayStation was going to do with it's business as usual. This is what works. This is what you like. We got some titles you can download, some you put in the disc, and that's the way it works right now. Not everybody has a fast internet connection and they can download 6 or 8 gigabytes worth of games.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. I can, okay? But in my life, and people have called me out and says, I'm sick of all these people that are connected to the internet that are bitching about people that don't have the internet. Well, you know something? In my line of work, I play the what if card all the time. What if my goalie doesn't show up? What if my referee doesn't show up? What if the place is closed? I have to have a backup plan on top of backup plan to do my job. So I'm looking at my console with the what ifs.
Right. When you are only worried about features that personally affect you, what you're doing is you are actually removing yourself from the gamer society. The people without the internet need to be spoken up for as well. So it's like, really, is the answer to the Xbox One, if it doesn't affect you, don't worry about it? If that was the case, we would have absolutely never progressed social policies in this country ever. You've always got to speak up for the things that you see that are wrong, regardless of whether they affect you. If they're wrong, they're wrong. And in that case, it was wrong.
Yeah, all the articles that I read that were bashing the whiny gamers They all said, me and my friends all have internet all the time.
So fuck the rest of them. Who cares? Who cares? If it doesn't affect me, well, that's the thing. We should care. We have to care.
Now, right now, like I say, I have internet all the time. But, but again, the what if? What if I put an addition on the house and I want to put an Xbox out in the addition and I can't get my internet out there? What if I go up to New Hampshire to a camp for a weekend and want to play games up there?
I go even beyond that. It has nothing to do with me. I will always be connected to the internet. There is never an issue with that. But what if, and I'm thinking about other people that are on ships, in the middle of the ocean deployed, and they're playing Xboxes. It's like, what? Yeah. They don't get to have the latest console? They are forced to use an outdated console because of that?
All they have to do with that is say, if you can't connect to the internet, in order to play a game, you have to have the disc in. That would have solved it for me.
So
it would have solved it for me, because if Edie buys the game, or if Piss Boy buys the game, and I go and I download it, and I'm the second or third user on this game of shared games, and my internet goes down and I can't check in, well, you know something? I never bought the game anyway, so I'm not out. I'm not out anything. If I can't play the game that I have the disc in my hand because their internet's down and my internet's down, then now I'm out, and I don't want to be out. And like I said on the show, my internet going down is out of my control. As long as I pay my bill, I should have internet. If it goes down, I can't go flick a switch and turn it on.
Right.
I can't go up the street and fix the pole. If there's a storm I can't. I'm at the mercy of that. And now I can't play Xbox One because something out of my control punishes me.
Right.
That's not right. That's not how it should be.
What did you say, Piss Boy?
Yeah. No, they should have more flexibility. They something. There is the way how they have it right now. The way how the system is right now. In the way they're going to right now with the Xbox One, they could still have that. You're still able to download games through the Xbox 360. You could download games. The thing is, the problem with it is that getting the sales, you have to dig to look for those sales.
Yes.
They don't bring them out, so you could be able to find them. And the other thing about like a Monday, how there was the Navy article that came out, how they were really on Xbox One and how it was alienating the military, and like you said, that's one thing they did not think about. Think about how many gamers, how many young 18 to 25-year-olds that are out serving somewhere, who are out in some base somewhere in the middle of nowhere, who take their systems. I have friends, I have family who are in the military, and they take their Xbox with them. They play it over there wherever they get the chance, and now they were not going to be able. to.
Right.
I mean, they should have been some sort of compromise. There should have been something.
And I think that's what you're seeing, is that Xbox One has the capability to do all the things that it originally had before they changed the DRM. And I think, honestly, that these features will be slowly rolled out as the Xbox One gets used and more people see it. Because honestly, one of the things that was also in Don Matrick's real statement was that new releases are going to be available for download day one, which I think was awesome. And that needed to be put up front and center, much more front and center when they presented it. But those things are going to be available day one. And I guarantee you that people are going to prefer to download them rather than go to GameStop and get a disc.
I don't know.
I
don't know about
yeah.
It would all depend.
Download. I can be back in GameStop in 10 minutes and have the disc and be playing rather than waiting 3 or 4 or 5 hours.
Well, you still have to install the disc.
Yeah, but installing from disk and downloading over the internet, and now you're going into my data cap. What if I get 4 games this month? And
do you have a data cap? Because I don't have a data cap.
I've never been notified of one. Okay, but there is a cap there in place. There is, and it's if I get a notice saying you're over your cap, and now you're paying for every megabyte that you use because I have to download everything over the internet. That's not the way I want to go.
Really, you have a data cap?
Oh, Comcast has a data cap. Everybody has a data cap. You don't.
A lot of cable services have data
Huh.
caps.
Yeah, I've
You'll-
never had an issue with data caps, and I download just about everything.
Well, I got a friend of mine, the guy that I do the hockey videos with. He's always getting notices from Comcast because he's uploading a lot of hockey videos and downloading a lot of hockey videos. Now, if that's video games,
Well, now here's a side note that had they required uploads and downloads and on the internet, all of that, it would have actually might have worked in our benefit because the data caps were moved in by the cable companies through Congress, through the FCC. That those were signed into law because the only people that were actually defending against the data caps were users. And a couple of big hitters like Amazon and Netflix, but they don't have the power like something like Microsoft. If Microsoft had walked in there with them on our side, at our shoulder, saying you can't do these data caps, you need to change these, then it would have kind of given us a very powerful lobby partner to be able to get those data caps changed.
but again, there's a lot of assumptions going on there.
Yes, that would have been a long, slow haul that it had.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ifs.
Yeah, I just like I say, I don't want to get a notice from my cable company that says, "Hey, you're over your cap." And now what do I do? I don't want to be down the internet and not be able to play a single player game. Obviously you're not on the internet, you can't play multiplayer. Fine. They should have said, look, if you have the disc or anything that you've downloaded that's on your system, you can play. You don't need to check in.
Right.
That's all they needed to do. But they made it so bad and so complicated and so complex. And they basically just like, look, trust us.
Yeah.
Trust us. It's going to be great.
Right. People that are blaming whiny gamers are really, really blaming the victim here. That's like blaming the victim for getting raped. We're only complaining because what they were doing was not a good idea and they were not addressing our issues before they were jamming it down our throat. If you need to blame someone, you need to blame Microsoft because they had arguably in some ways very good ideas that they presented so poorly that no one who actually had any sense would have actually bought into those because there are too many ifs. It's not our fault. It is Microsoft's fault. And I feel bad for them because I think that they were doing some really, really interesting things, but they presented them so poorly and so offensively in some ways. When Don Matrick goes out and on the record, on video with, I think it was Jeff Keighley, and says, well, if you don't want to be connected to the internet, we have a solution for that. It's called the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
That's insulting.
Yep.
So don't blame us. Blame Microsoft.
When they made all the changes yesterday, I was kind of giddy. It's like, oh, good, maybe I can go back to Mike. But now I'm hearing all the hate, and it's and not so much from Microsoft. Maybe they got to be careful what they say, but it's almost like, if you want to go to a certain restaurant and you're significant, I don't want to go there. You're like, oh, come on, I really want to. Fine, I'll go. How much fun are you going to have there?
Right.
When they take that, fine. You want it? You
got it. Happy now, you fucking ingrates.
Exactly. That's kind of how I feel. It's like I'm not happy. I'm not happy about being happy about this.
Right.
And now,
you're not happy for getting what you want. And I have never seen anything be so divisive within the gamer community. Seriously. You're right. There's a backlash against all of us who were saying, hey, this is a bad idea. Hey, please address our issues. Hey, this is a bad idea. And now they're blaming us for changing their Xbox. It's created a war within the gaming community, not just a console war. There's
been some good heated debates on Facebook, even with some of our listeners that are all upset and blah blah blah. But it's like Jason Webb right here in the chat room. He put it the best. All we want to do is play our games and have the option to not be connected.
Right.
That's it. We're just simple gamers. We just want to play. And you said it the best, and even Piss Boy, they could have rolled in some of these changes and eventually gone that way instead of slamming the door in our face and saying, no, this is how it's going to be.
Right.
It's going to be this way, and you're either with us or you're not. And it was such a drastic change in how business is done.
Well, it was making assumptions about the infrastructure of the internet that wasn't necessarily there. If they'd have just launched it like this at the beginning and said, hey, let's watch to see how much of this download stuff happens. And when we all get okay with downloading all of our games on day one instead of going to GameStop, when we all get okay with the Steam system of console gaming, then say, all right, well, hey, what about this? We're gonna roll this out. What do you think?
Yes, exactly. Or at least
and everybody goes, I download all my games anyway. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, but when they keep saying, oh, look, the prices will come down, well, just like Steam, show us. Put us on the main page. I want to see BioShock Infinite for $15.
Right.
Like Steam would do. Don't give me the dangle the carrot in front of me.
Just tell me, right. Let us see it first.
Roll it in.
And the other thing is not just Steam. I mean, PC gamers spend hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars on their gaming rigs. They're used to connecting to the internet. They're used to downloading things onto their system. And it's not just Steam. You could go to Good Old Games. You could go to Greenman. You could go to any other service. It's not just Steam, and find yourself good deals. Microsoft was going to set themselves to be their own Steam, where that's the only place you could be able to buy the games and download, and they set the prices. On the PC side, you could go anywhere. You could get the whole franchise of anything for less than it will cost to buy one game on Xbox.
Right.
I mean, you have that flexibility. And it's one thing about going to the Steam model. Yes, you know something? If they were to come out, like later down the road and say, we're coming out with a digital version of the Xbox, that you'll be able to just download games. The games that come out are going to be cheaper than you would on disc, and it has all the same options like how they had before. I would have been fine with that, and I bet you more than anything, a lot of people would have been fine with that, because there's this whole thing about trading or use games, stuff like that, because the PC gamers, the gamers who actually understand downloadable games, would have been okay. Right. And I honestly, I think, like you said, later down the road, they might start rolling out something close to that, or even rolling that kind of system out.
Right. And the likening of it to Steam in that, fake Don Matrick, that, oh, well, that's what Steam does, and you fucking love Steam for it. Well, Steam does two things. One, you don't even connect to Steam without an internet because it's a computer. Like you said, if you don't really have a computer, if you don't have a fast internet connection, so, that's...
You buy the disc.
Right. The infrastructure is already established. This is not an infrastructure that was established that would work for Xbox. And number two is Xbox has, for 2 generations, been a not necessarily internet connected thing, which means that they have a lot of user base that don't necessarily have the internet. And Steam started as an internet thing. There's nobody on it that ever has played it that doesn't have a good internet connection. Yeah. So it's a difference between, do we kick to the curb the non-internet users or not? And that was the problem, is that Xbox was alienating a portion, probably not a big portion, but a portion of its established and loyal customer base, and saying, you don't matter. If they'd had addressed that at E3, and even if they had taken the 360, put in a different chipset, reboxed it, and called it the Xbox Xbox 500 or something else, and saying, we are rolling out 2 consoles, one that is completely internet connected and one that isn't. They have the same chips, they're going to work the same way, and everybody would feel like they got something, instead of the non-internet connected gamers being essentially told, get the fuck out of the pool, you don't matter anymore.
Yeah. Well, I read, somebody replied on one of the Kotaku websites, and they put it beautifully, and the one sentence that stuck out was, the PC gamers on Steam know what they're getting into.
Right.
That like you just said, consoles are supposed to be convenient. We're supposed to put in the disc, sit on our couch and play, or sign on and download and play. We're not supposed to worry.
We just lost Steve. Anyway, yeah.
We're not supposed to worry about whether it'll work or not. We're not supposed to worry if we can't ping the internet. We're not supposed to worry about anything with consoles. That's why That's why I play consoles rather than Steam, because the game's going to work. Now, I don't know if it was going to work with this new setup. Right. And I know maybe I'm being over dramatic, but I don't want my ass hanging in the breeze.
Right.
If something comes up, I just want it to work. And that's why I still have my PlayStation on pre-order. I haven't changed that because everything that they said is going to work. Microsoft, they backtracked, but it doesn't sound like they're happy about it because they were all excited about this new frontier they were going in.
Yeah.
Just not with a console. Not yet. Not until things change.
Right. And they are changing. GameStop has already weighed in on the change. In a surprise announcement, GameStop says this is great news for gamers and is a testament to Microsoft's understanding of importance of the used game market. In other words, GameStop is like, fuck you.
What?
Fuck
Yeah,
you.
not just them.
The shit stains
So
at GameStop are happy. GameFly. GameStop had a chance. GameFly was fucked.
Yeah,
yes,
no, but I still don't like all the heat that GameStop gets because there's people that sell it back to Amazon. There's people that sell it on eBay, Craigslist. You know, I get people that give me video games in exchange to play hockey for crying out loud.
Right, but Amazon, you can sell back to Amazon, but Amazon also supports people selling it to each other via Amazon.
So what's the difference, though? What's the difference if I sell you? Okay, I get Madden, and I'm done with it, and I sell it to you for $30, or I sell it to GameStop for $30.
But you sell it. If you can sell it to me for $30, you can sell it to me for $50. You sell it to GameStop for $30 or $35 store credit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your EA Sports. Right?
Right.
I sell it to you or I sell it to GameStop. What does EA Sports get out of either one?
Neither, but you actually get the actual value. GameStop doesn't buy things for $30 unless they're a week old.
Right, but what I'm
right.
getting at, though,
the GameStop
only if I sell it to you for $1,
right?
EA still gets nothing.
Right, but that's not the point. The reason why we hate GameStop is because GameStop will buy it back from you and not give you the market price and then turn around and resell it for $50.
That's the service they provide. It's like
right,
it's like
and they make
scalping.
a ton of money on it, and that is unconscionable what they do. And it would all be fine if GameStop employees were actually treated well. They're treated shitty. I
know, but I'm sick of the GameStop. Hey, because if I wanted to go get Boston Bruins tickets right now, do you think I would pay face value? No, I would go to a ticket place who's going to double and triple the price. So what's the difference between these ticket quote companies with convenience?
Oh, I don't like you mean like StubHub and all those? Well,
yes.
StubHub. Well, see here, StubHub. All StubHub does, and this is the difference. You sell a ticket on StubHub, you're selling that ticket. StubHub is just providing the service of being able to connect the seller to the buyer, which is what Amazon does. So all they do is charge a small service fee. That is very, very different than somebody being essentially the logjam, the only one that is buying that's most convenient, well, not even most convenient, that is the big player in the the games market or the ticket market, going to you and saying, yeah, you want to sell that back? That's fine. You can sell it back to me and I'll give you other tickets, but you're going to sell them to me you paid $100 for them. You're going to sell it to me for $50. And I'll give you a $55 ticket for something else. And then they take that ticket and sell it for $200.
And then it's my choice not to sell it to GameStop then.
Right, exactly. And that's why I hate GameStop, is that everybody uses them and nobody should. There are other ways to do it.
Yeah, right, there is. But again, if I have a 4 or 5 year old game, I may not be able to sell it anywhere.
Sure.
Not necessarily. $5 or $6 out of GameStop, then I'm going to get $5 or $6 out of it. If I sell it at a garage sale, I'm going to get more than $5 for an old game at a garage sale.
Yeah, you are. I always get more. Always get more for my games.
My point is that if they're worried about used games, it shouldn't matter who I sell it to.
Right.
Whether it's a person, whether I give it to somebody as a birthday present used or trade-off or whatever. GameStop is just providing a service to sell used games, which people are going to do anyway. They're going to try to sell the game.
Right, and it's a bad place to sell your games, by the way. It really is. There are a number of other ways to sell games that actually give you cash in your hand instead of store credit, that actually don't rip you off. And, you might have to wait a little while. Not a little. I mean, if you put a good price on a game on Amazon and sell them, then you can sell it and get cash.
Yeah.
It's
now,
more
what
of
happens on day one, though, when they roll out this you can download on day one these games, and the servers get jammed, and it takes 8 hours to download the game.
That's one of those things that I said that the infrastructure was not in there for them to roll out Xbox One as draconian as they had, as like, this is the way it's going to be, and if you don't like it, fuck you. That was one of those big ifs that did not get addressed, and they would have been better off saying we're initially going to do this. You know, this is our new console. This is how awesome it's going to be, and it has all these capabilities, and then roll it out as you are certain that the infrastructure is going to be there, the foundations of the network that they have no control over.
Now, that's the problem. They're relying on the internet and the cloud to do all this stuff. And every time something major happens on Xbox, it never works. I never saw the Mars landing.
Yeah.
Couldn't get that to work. People said that they were trying to watch E3. That kept backing up on them.
Right.
So you go plop down $60 and you say, I'm going to download the new Battlefield 4. And 6 hours later, it's still trying to download. I could have been down to GameStop or Best Buy, picked it up, come home, and been playing for 5 hours. And what are you going to do? You at that point, you can't say cancel my order.
Right.
You've already paid for it, so you just got to wait, and you're at the mercy of their servers. And knowing how Xbox has done it, it hasn't worked.
Well,
so
and then you could argue and say this is a function of the old system. The new system is not going to have that problem. You could say that. But how many times and it's something that Microsoft didn't address. How many times have we been told there's not going to be any problems? Day one, not any problems. Just not even 6-8 months after SimCity came out, and the huge problems that they had, and they promised day one these issues wouldn't happen, and 6 months later they still haven't rolled out all of their, I think they just rolled out all their features because they had to shut them down because they couldn't do it because their servers didn't work that way.
Yep.
Also another thing about SimCity, not that many people are playing it that much anymore as they were in day one.
Right. Yep. So it all kind of it's now created an equilibrium that they couldn't handle the load and people dropped it. And that's one thing to do that for a game that I spent $50 for a download, which I'm not happy about, but hey, fucking, $50, I'm pissed, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, but
it's a whole other thing if I spend $600 for a console.
Yeah.
And then that comes, and then it's can't done, and then now what am I going to do?
Like for example, when Diablo 3 came out, it took days before people were actually able to play it because people were still trying to download it and you log onto the servers.
Right.
Think about it. At day one, the Xbox One, people take it to their homes, connect it. They're trying to play, and the servers are all logged up. They can't get in. They can't register. They can't do anything because it is a requirement.
Right.
And look at the shitstorm that would have happened during that first week.
I would have been furious. Well, nobody would have bought an Xbox in the first. Yeah. Nobody was only smart.
Yeah.
Even if I knew I was going to buy an Xbox One eventually, but I certainly wasn't going to do it until whatever shitstorm came down the pike, and it was going to be a shitstorm of epic proportions. I wasn't going to be involved in it.
Yeah, it's like one of the things I was telling Goldie yesterday. Just think about there's a lot of people who right now, like you said, go and have Xbox and not hooked up to the internet. Think about the people who are buying it as gifts. They'll set it up fine in their house, but say they want to go to Nana's house and go play it there. They want to show Grandpa their new game or something like that. Take it over to Nana's house. Nana's house don't have internet.
Yeah.
And they're trying to hook up, and they're like, internet required, and then they're calling Microsoft going, what the hell? I want to, my kids want to play this game. They're not going to play online. They want to play this game. They want to show it to Nana and Grandpa, and they can't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would have been a really bad
right.
day.
I'm not entirely sure it's still not going to be bad. because there's still that initial connection, which I'm not complaining about. You have to do that. But at the same time, I think day one, their servers are going to crash. Because if the PC gaming world can't handle the amount of traffic that comes in day one for an always online game, even yet to this day, after Diablo 3 and SimCity, they still can't get their shit together. How are you going to make that happen for console where there's a fuck ton more people and it's not, I don't think it's as technologically advanced as the PC world.
Yeah, it's not ready. We're not ready for that yet. It's some good ideas. Edie hit it on the head. Roll it in. And for me, show me. Put up a couple. Show me you can be like Steam. Give me some good sales. Because when I look on the, to buy some game, they're not, the prices are not good to buy digital. And even the older games, I mean, maybe they have a sale for $40, but a lot of them are still rolling out for $50 and $60.
They're still going retail price.
Yeah.
They're still selling games that have been out for over a year for retail price.
And I'm okay if I buy Diner Dash for $15. I'm really not expecting to be able to trade something in to get anything much for a $15 game. Just like if I bought a brand new disc game for $15, what are you going to get for a trade-in? Mm-hmm. So we've all kind of succumbed to the fact that downloadable games, especially off the Xbox Live Arcade, that are $5, $10, $15, even $20. That's it. That's yours. It's done. Mm-hmm. We're okay. But when you start getting $40, $50, $60, yeah, we want to have some value after we're done playing it.
Right. And you hit it on the head when you said, show me. You say all these things, show me. The Don Matrick et al. Of Microsoft came up on E3 and they knew that people were not happy. They had 2 weeks to hear all of the concerns. And rather than acknowledge the concerns and do your best to alleviate the fear, saying, if they had just said, we know you're concerned about this. We know you have questions. There's a lot of ifs involved. We want to answer these questions for you, and we want to show you how this will work. But these features are going to make your gaming experience better. You will have a library where people can play all of your games. Your games are going to be updated behind the scenes. You will never sit and wait for your games to be updated. Being taken offline and being put back online after an update. That's never going to happen again. You will have seamless play. You will have massive environments in which to play these MMOs, racing games, combat games, war games. All of these things are going to be possible with Xbox One. So let's answer some questions for you and show you how this will work. But instead, they did the opposite. They ignored the fact that there were any questions. They refused to answer any questions in the roundtable. They canceled their roundtable. That right there was the kiss of death.
It was, but when all these people that are out there, the gaming media that's doing the writing, the Kotakus, the joysticks, it's almost like they got it. Air quotes, they got it. And they said, boy, this is going to be awesome, because they were all in on it. And so they must have had some conversations or some hands-on time or something that they're making them mad about the changes. But the masses, that's who you're selling to. You're not selling to the media who's writing articles. You're selling to the masses.
Welcome to the difference between PAX and E3. And I have said this so long and everyone says it's okay that E3 is a trade show. That's why E3 doesn't work, because it's a trade show. The only ones who got it were the people at E3, the high-end media and your investment bankers. They are not translating this to the public like you should. Essentially, Microsoft fired their PR team and figured they could handle it and use Joystick and Kotaku and Polygon to be their PR people, and this is what they got. This is what happens.
Yep.
There is a disconnect between the consumers and the company. The ideas don't trickle down, especially when they're complicated. And this was a complicated idea. It was a hard sell. This is why they needed to not fire people like Trixie. They needed to not fire people like Chris Palladino. They needed to keep those people on, and this is why they had their jobs and why they were paid so much.
Yeah,
it's like they didn't have a PR firm.
It's like they got a gaming elite out there, and they know what's better for you. But the problem is that it seems like every tweet and every article I've read from these high-ups, they're not going to be standing next to me in line at Best Buy. Or GameStop. They're going to have it hand delivered to their company, and they're going to take it home. So, I mean, these are not the people standing in line for tickets with you.
Right.
These are the people
that got backstage passes.
Yes, they're going to be inside GameStop sipping lattes and vodka, laughing about the people outside. That's what I'm saying. There's that disconnect. It's like a gaming elite. Now they're snubbing their noses at us saying, you people are bad because you wouldn't believe what was coming, and now we have to go back to the old way, and we can't evolve because you Neanderthals, want your discs. And boy, I tell you, yeah, I was excited for the changes, and when I saw the reaction from the media, I'm pretty mad still.
Yeah.
And
by the way, now, two questions, two important questions of where we go now. One, do you think EA is going to put back in the online passes?
Online pass?
They have to.
Well,
they are. No
well, what were they going to do with Sony?
That's the whole thing. They hadn't really addressed
I
yet.
think, honestly, the only way that this scenario makes sense is that somebody either within Sony planted the information, or they were all planning, both Microsoft and Sony were planning to do this downloadable DRM connection, always-on connection. I think Sony was originally planning that. And then when Microsoft came out with their big reveal, 2 weeks before Sony did, Sony saw the reaction and said, oh, fuck, they just handed us E3 on a silver platter. They just handed us this console war, and they rolled back all of their plans. So when Microsoft came out and said, this is what and that's why Sony had their event at night, because they're always in the afternoon at E3. This year, they were at night. It was always Microsoft and Sony right next to each other, and then you had the other two. So Sony being at night, that they were like, okay, let's see how this Microsoft shit goes down. They watched Microsoft, they watched what happened, and they're like, pull the trigger on this thing. Pull the trigger on the getting rid of our DRM, getting rid of our online connection, and make it essentially just get rid of all these things. And then by 7 o'clock when they had, or 6 o'clock when they had their presentation, they kicked ass. So I think that the industry as a whole expected, and the telltale sign was getting rid of the online passes, the EA doing that. EA had to have known, or had to have suspected, or been told, or there was something in the air that came from both Sony and from Microsoft that said, we're going to have always on connections and no used game sales. And then Sony backtracked and stuck Microsoft out there and let them take the brunt of it. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. I think this was a major upset, and Sony orchestrated it.
Okay, but here's my
Either
question.
that or just took advantage of the situation.
Here's my question, though, is that with both consoles in production and both consoles rolling out at the same time, and basically Microsoft saying, geez, we can't really make those changes, do you think, could Sony say that and still...
Microsoft did. Microsoft changed their mind in less than 2 weeks.
What I'm saying is, you're okay. So in your scenario, you're at E3, and they're both saying, "Yeah, we need the constant connection for the DRM." And all of a sudden, Sony says, "You know something? We're not going to do that."
No, the opposite. They saw that come out 2 weeks before E3. Remember that information came out 2 weeks before E3, and they heard the hate.
It's not a long time. So
it took them less than a week for less than 10 days.
Yeah, I know.
For Microsoft to do it, why couldn't Sony do it?
So you think that in 2 weeks that they managed to
Fuck
change
yeah.
the software and their hardware to say, look, we're not going to go that route, and they had enough.
Fuck yeah, that's I believe it's exactly what the fuck happened. Is that they saw what went down after the Xbox and the pure hate, and they're like, wouldn't it be funny? Like I said, wouldn't it be hilarious if we didn't do that and let Sony hang itself at E3?
You mean Microsoft?
I mean, sorry, let Microsoft hang itself at E3. And if, right. Besides, no matter what, they may not even have it in the console now. If it is clearly something software based that can be turned on or turned off.
Exactly.
I think
otherwise, Microsoft wouldn't have been able to change their tune in such a short period of time.
Well, guys. Well, for me, I'm gonna stick with the PS4 for now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna change. I may pre-order an Xbox One, but I honestly am gonna hold back. We got 6 months, dude. It's 6 months until this thing comes out.
Yeah, and plus, a lot of the games are going to be the same on both consoles. Right. You're just going to get it for the exclusives. That's what you're going to go for, and the extra stuff. Sony's going to have their indie stuff that I'm really more excited about than Microsoft TV stuff. That's to me what I'm most excited about. And if anything, I probably would end up getting a Xbox One later down the road.
I think
probably
that's
not right
me
now.
as well.
I think I'm doing the same thing. I still, all things being equal, if Sony's been really quiet since E3, but if I liked what the PlayStation offered more than the Xbox, Xbox has now closed the gap, but it was an angry closing of the gap.
It's an angry closing of the gap, and let's not forget there's one incredibly important difference between the two that often gets overlooked by gamers. There's $100 difference.
Yeah. That is almost 2 games right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right there. It's exactly almost.
That's almost 2 games right there. And with the amount of games that's come out, you're going to want to save your money to pick up the best ones possible.
And still, there's the Kinect that has to be connected all the time.
Right.
And supposedly you can disable it in the software, but you can't unplug it. And I'm not saying that, like I said, we're going to spy on the fat guys playing video games. But it's a camera. I don't think I need a camera plugged in facing me while I play video games. I don't.
Yeah, you don't have to face it. Fortunately, you don't have to face it. You can put it in the corner. You don't have to use it, which is good. But bottom line is, I think that if they want us to use things like the Kinect camera, if they want us to use things like downloadable games, they have to entice us. They can't just ram it down our throats and say this is the way it's got to be. And that's what they did. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Well, guys, I am going to need to go.
Yep, I have to go too.
Okay.
So, Jason Webb in the chat room. I think it's just you, Jason.
Yeah, just Jason.
Just Jason. Yeah. Hey, Jason. So that's bottom line. Are you going to get a Xbox One? Well, I think we've all agreed that we're probably all going to stay with the PlayStation 4 for right now.
It's still a lot of changes.
It takes less than a day. It takes 10 minutes to change our minds about things at this point. But that's what the fun of a console war is.
Well, one good thing is that you can still pre-order on Amazon.
Yeah, isn't that great?
For the Xbox One?
Yeah,
the PlayStation 4. There's.
Somebody told me they were sold out. The Xbox One pre-order.
The Xbox One.
Somebody told me that the Xbox One was sold out, but that was like in the first day. They're not sold out.
No, okay. On the okay, this is another thing that I found interesting that I was telling Goldie yesterday. When E3 came out, the PS4 sold out in less than 24 hours. And during that time period, somewhere during that time period, the Xbox One sold out. Like a day or two later.
Whoa. Xbox One Day console on Amazon right now. Item will be released November 27th, 2013. Did that just go up?
No, this is what ended up happening. Major Nelson, on Thursday, he tweeted, there's been more available pre-orders for the Xbox One. And those have stayed. Those have not sold out yet for Amazon. On GameStop, that's another story because they get a certain amount. On Best Buy, I do not know their inventory. But a lot of people are forgetting that Toys R Us still has plenty of pre-orders. People keep forgetting to go to Toys R Us. You could still be able to pre-order both of them. There's day one.
Right.
So, but
PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 Standard Edition is on sale at Amazon. $399.96. You save 3 cents.
Yeah, and that's what I got mine for. Yeah, but like I said, day one. Yeah, day one for PS4s sold out. You're only going to get the one that comes out later.
Are they sold out at Best Buy?
Best Buy, I'm not sure as of now.
Because that was the last one. The difference between Best Buy and some of the other ones is that you had to pay the entire amount up front.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
At Best Buy, there's a $25 deposit. And
no, there isn't. Not if you buy it online. They deducted the entire amount.
Really? I went to the store. I went to the store and I pre-ordered there on the store, and it was only $25. Toys R Us is $20, and at GameStop, I don't know if it's $50 or $100, something like that. To pre-order.
But I think GameStop's entirely sold out for those.
Yeah. But I'm like I said, I'm gonna hold out for now. They're still trying to pump out as much of them as possible, and so let's see what ends up happening.
Wait a minute.
What?
Oh, that's Battlefield 4. Never mind.
Oh, did you see the report that apparently the PS4 has a launch window of November 13th?
Yes, I saw that. That's kind of, and one European retailer has put it up on their website that it's November 13th for the launch date, which is good.
Yeah, for European, which I remember. It all came that. Remember how I was telling you how it's called Call of Duty Ghosts is a launch title for the PS4, and that comes out early November.
Yeah, and I had said that there was going to be a Watch Dogs. That Watch Dogs was coming out for the 360 and the PS3 on November 19th. And I said, how could they do that if it was not before November 19th? So I thought it was going to be November 19th, but it turns out it might be November 13th.
Yeah, or even earlier.
Maybe even earlier.
Yeah, well, Jason Webb asked, what's Sony's next move? Yeah, it's like...
they don't have to move.
End of October.
Yeah, they're fine.
If they really want to stick it to them, they'll sell it a month before.
You know, part of me still, the checklist still goes to PS4. I'm hearing good things about their new PlayStation Network and how they're going to set that up.
Yeah,
I don't have to have.
I really like the fact that the PlayStation Network will give you first-run games, even if they are first-run indie titles, rather than 2-year-old, AAA titles. I don't need. I think that was, probably one of the more insulting things that Microsoft did during that press event, was that they said, we're going to give you 2 free games. Like, for example, Assassin's Creed 3. Really? You're going to give me a 2-year-old Assassin's Creed 3 game? Or Battlefield 2? Really?
Yeah, it's real old stuff.
And then they're like, we're going to be so awesome, we're giving you Fable 3. I'm like, Fable 3 is 3 years old. I already own it. I played it.
It's not that good of a game.
It's not that good of a game, and I already played the fuck out of it. I am so past this. It's like, what did you do? Just clean out your basement? It's like they regifting. It's like regifting shit from Christmases past.
Which they have done before.
Yes.
Every time they gave you a free game, some sort of free shit is something that nobody really wants.
Right.
It's really old.
It's a lemonade container that holds real lemonade.
It's a plate that's shaped like a chicken. Just what you always wanted.
That's exactly what it is. It's regifting. That's awesome.
So I am so just unbelievably insulted by that. Meanwhile, PlayStation 4, Sony's like, hey, we'll give you free games too. But hey, they're not going to be our AAA titles. You're still going to have to pay for those. But we're going to have Octodad and what was the other ones?
Warframe.
Warframe.
Yeah.
Right. Just a bunch of other cool, like middle, I wouldn't call, they're indie, but they're like middle indie. They're not like small indie, but they're middle indie titles. We're going to go to PAX every year and find the coolest indie titles. What was the other one? The one that we played that was the scary one that was at PAX.
Oh, the computer one?
Yes.
That wasn't Evil. No, was it Outlast?
Outlast. They're giving away for free. We're going to go to PAX. We're going to find all the coolest indie games in the back of PAX, and we're going to put them on PlayStation. We're going to give them to you for free. Fuck yeah!
And you know what's great about that is for somebody like me who really is not good at playing games on a computer. I wanted to play Octodad. I wanted to play Outlast, and now I can play it on a PlayStation.
I can play it on a PlayStation. How awesome is that?
And not just that, a lot of the free-to-play games that you'll be able to play on your PS4, they don't require a PS Plus membership to play. So even if you don't have PS Plus, you can still play online multiplayers with the free-to-play games.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. You can play online multiplayer for even though you don't have. See.
Yes, like someone's like PlanetSide 2 that is free to play, and you can play that without having PS Plus. And there's another game that's also going the same route. You do not need PS Plus to play multiplayer games with their free to play games.
Right.
So they're even offering even more.
Right.
For $5 a month, though, I mean, you might as well just get the PS Plus or the whatever it is.
It was $50. It's even $10 cheaper than the Microsoft one.
Right. I in answer to your question, Jason, what's Sony's next move? Absolutely nothing. They don't need to do anything. At this point, they're still $100 cheaper, $10 cheaper for their monthly service, a better monthly service with better games that come out. Right now, they don't need to. They just have to sit back with a smile on their face.
And not do anything stupid.
I'm just sitting back, and I want to see where the bulk of my friends go. I'm really intrigued.
Oh, pissed. What did you miss? Everything. Sorry, but I want to see where the bulk of my friends go, too. I think it's going to split a lot of families.
I think
well, the way how gaming communities are, I know that I got some of my my hardcore Xbox fans, they're fanboys, fangirls. They were going to stick no matter what. They have those, and then they're going to the ones that are more likely to go for the cheaper system. They understand the games are going to be identical to each system, so they're probably going to go to the cheaper system. They're going to move on. Gaming communities, they change, they grow. We have the Game House community here. They're going to go either which system. We're going to have plenty of people to play with. That's one of those things.
When I look at my friends list on Xbox, I want to see, if the majority of the people I play with a lot stay with Xbox. Well, but I really would like to check out the PS4. But I don't want to go there and be alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then find out, but everyone's going Xbox.
I don't think you're going to be alone. You're not going to be alone. You're not going to be alone.
You're not.
No.
All right. Now here's the big question before we wrap it up. Do you guys now feel guilty?
No.
Hang on. Let me finish. Guilty that they were trying to evolve. They were trying to go next gen with new things and new technologies and new ideas, and they basically had to backtrack and basically just put out a pumped up 360. Do you guys feel guilty that we've shamed them into not evolving, but rather just staying the course and not upgrading the windmill?
I don't, because they're still capable of doing that. The only thing they did was flip a switch and open it up. The technology is still there. They're still capable of doing that. And I'm pretty sure that I'll see those features roll out further on in the future.
So do you feel guilty?
Yeah, I did. When I read that, what was it? You fucking ingrates, you won. When I read it, I did feel a little guilty. I felt a little bad. But then I realized that that's not the reality of the situation. We're not in this console thing. We're not in the gaming thing. And Microsoft is not in the business of emotion. It's in the business of consumerism. And they rolled out an interesting idea. They rolled it out badly, and people didn't buy it. So there's no there shouldn't be any emotion, and guilt is just an emotion. There should never be any guilt when it comes to fucking up in the marketplace. And honestly, the more that I look at it, the more I realize this wasn't my fault. This was Microsoft's fault. Microsoft fucked up. And sometimes you just got to just suck it up and do the right thing. And I admire Microsoft for doing the right thing and not just continually just running headlong into the iceberg.
I'll tell you one thing.
It's hard to do. I'm sure that was a very difficult decision, and I'm sure somebody's going to get fired over it.
And it stinks because there's some people that are shaming me because I was on board of the whiny gamers, if you want to call it that way, into Boy, you blew it because now you could have seen all this cool stuff and all this really neat things, and now we're not going to see it. But again, like you guys said, they could still roll it out over time.
That's schoolroom bullshit. That's schoolroom bullshit, and you know it.
It's like they dangled the carrot and said all this great stuff, but. So to go after it's rabbit in the hand and two in the bush is what they were looking at. You're going to dangle the carrot in front of me, tell about all these great things, but I got to put up with all these little quirks and requirements.
Yeah.
And I guess I wasn't going to trust them enough to deal with the quirks and requirements.
No, a lot of people didn't, and it was Microsoft's fault for not answering the questions. When Microsoft failed, when they canceled the round table and shut everybody down and says we don't want to answer any questions now. That was it. It was over. That was them. That was them blowing it. So no, yes, I feel a little bad that this happened. Am I a little sad? I don't feel bad. I feel sad that this ancient way of conveying games by disc is once again getting fucked over, but not by me, by Microsoft. Microsoft was the one that blew it, not us. Please do not blame the victim in this one. This was Microsoft. They fucked up and they were wrong. Maybe not with a lot of their features, but certainly in the way that they rolled them out.
Yeah.
Yep, they didn't explain it. It was too confusing. And still now there's questions.
There was the trust us, I know what I'm doing. And you don't get to ask you people don't get to ask any questions. And if you don't like it, get a 360
or a PS4, and that's what people did.
Right.
And then when they looked at the numbers and they're like, you know something, no one is buying this.
Right.
I don't say no one, but it must have been bad.
Right.
And there was somebody on Twitter. Somebody retweeted somebody on Twitter, and I don't know who retweeted it and who was the retweeter, but they said, yeah, I got to look at the numbers, and it was bad.
Right.
And they said, I can't say anything because I'm on a disclosure agreement, but he said, yeah, the numbers were horrible.
Yeah. And Jason Webb points out, nothing has changed. You can still download games. You can still update it every day if you like. The only thing different is the used games and lending, which was the way we wanted it. Yeah, that's the only thing that's changed, is they've actually given us the option. So I don't know what people are bitching about, how we wrecked it.
I think that there's people that are mad at the whole family plan, is that they really thought that they were going to get free games and give out free games and they could play free games and download free games. And I don't see how that was going to work.
And that was something that wasn't even really addressed. There was really nothing laid out how that would have worked or anything like that.
Oh yeah, they flat out said is that you can put your games on a shared list, and that 10 people who have been designated by you as your family, whether they are truly your family or whether they live in an entirely different state, they just have to be on your friends list for more than 30 days. Those people could have access and play your games in the cloud the way that you do. It's as long as you weren't playing them at the time.
Yeah, the two big points to that were, again, was it all games that I can put in this folder for people to use?
They didn't say that it wasn't, and that it was a limited amount of games. They said said just. And I can't imagine it wouldn't be all games.
Well, again, I have
also something that would have been asked in the round table had they had one.
See, I have the Nook, okay, which is the Kindle, the BN version of the Kindle. So on the Nook, you can lend books. You can't lend them all.
Right.
You have certain books that are the lend me and some that are not. And that's what I believe is going to happen, is that some games you could download, Diner Dash, and I could lend that out, no problem. But again, if I downloaded Battlefield 4, I don't know if that's going to be a lend me game. And the other question is if Piss Boy's playing Battlefield 4, if that's a lend me game, and I go to sign on and play it, what happens? Who has the priority to play that game?
You do.
Who does?
You, the owner of the game, has the priority to play.
You're the owner.
Oh, if I'm the owner, then you don't have priority to play the game. If I'm the owner and I have the game and it's attached to my account and you try to go in and play, it won't let you. if you're playing it
and Piss Boy signs on to play, what happens?
If you're already playing the game and I own it and I sign on, I can see that you're I've got to be this, and it makes sense that I would see that you're playing my game, and if I tried to play it, it would say, if you play this game right now, you're going to kick out Holy Goalie. Do you want to do this?
Okay, but what about the friends list, though? So you buy the game, I am playing it, Piss Boy sounds like, hey, I want to play this game. He can't because someone else is already playing this game on your friends list. And let's just say I want to play it all night. And he's like, Jeebus, the goalie's just playing this game. I just want to give it a try. But he can't because I'm playing it.
And this is why they needed to have the round table. They needed that round table badly. The round table would have made it all better.
Yeah, someone had a great point. He said, "Look, I buy a game, I put it on the friends list. One of my friends is playing it, and now I want my wife to play it, and she can't because my friend is playing it, and I can't get a hold of them to turn it off."
Yeah.
So still just too confusing, too many questions. Some great ideas. They didn't explain it. They didn't. Our little minds couldn't wrap it around what they wanted to do.
Well, it wasn't our minds wrapping around it.
So
there was too many ifs. There was too many questions, and they didn't address the questions. They didn't even say that there might be questions. And then when the opportunity to have those gray areas filled in came up, they said, "We're not doing that." So trust me, I know what I'm doing. It's $499, but you have to trust me. I know what I'm doing. And what the consumer base said was, you know what? We don't trust you.
There's too many ifs.
There's too many ifs, and there's the only thing that we are certain of is things that we don't like.
Yes.
And the things that we do like, you didn't really explain very well, and you refused to answer any questions about it. So we're taking our money to Sony.
Why do you think? Why wouldn't they answer those questions?
Because they fired their PR team. They fired their PR team. Bottom line. Or if they hired a third-party company, they did a poor job of it. But they pretty much expected, I think, that they don't appreciate PR unless you don't appreciate how much good PR does until you don't have it anymore and they do a bad job.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you think they had all the answers? Do you think if we had asked them that question about who gets priority?
No, that's the thing. They didn't have all the answers because if they had, they wouldn't have made such a mess in the roundtable after questions from 2 weeks before when Phil Harrison said, "Oh yeah, you're going to have a fee to play used games, and I think it's going to be the suggested manufacturer retail price."
A fee of retail price,
a retail price, right? You wouldn't have had those things. They didn't have these ideas sorted out, and if they were going to roll it out, they needed to have them sorted out.
I think the only thing people were worried about is that they lost the shared games in their family of 10. That's the big thing that people are upset about, along with not having the disc in the drive. But as far as the
thing is that the infrastructure is still there to do it. They may actually say, "Would you like to sign up for this service? It's $10."
Yeah.
For another $40 a year, just a flat fee of $40, you can share your game with 10 people.
Yeah. That they can still roll these things out, but there was just too many. That's the only thing people are mad about.
Are we sure that they've gotten rid of that?
I think they said that because they've gone back to the disc thing, that you must have the disc in. The family plan thing has now been.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. If
retracted.
You have to have the disc in, then they can't do
now
that.
That won't work. Now how it's going to work with digital games? I mean, they could run that trial balloon with the downloads, the diner dashes, and the mountain your friends and things like that. They could run.
Well, it's not even those. They're having first run games that are going to be available on launch day.
But what I'm saying is for the family pack thing, they could trial that with some of the cheaper games. Mm-hmm. And I got a funny feeling that they will, as far as the sharing of the games, as what ones you could share. What if they said we're going to leave that up to the developers?
Yeah.
Yeah, we want you to share our games. Go ahead, so we don't make any sales. Yeah, no.
All right. Well, anyway, I have got to go. I'm already now once again behind on my work. I actually have to do some paying work, and yeah, we pretty well hashed this out. So, bottom line, are we happy? Yes, we are very happy because now I consider it actually being a console war. Before it was just a slaughter.
And I'm guilty. I feel guilty now. I feel like I've wrecked things.
No, you haven't wrecked things.
People are making me feel bad.
People are trying to make you feel bad, and it's because they're being just children about it. Nothing has changed. Yes, they have lost their shared 10. Are you sure? No, you're not. If you buy a disc, probably. If you buy the game digitally, probably not. Who's to say? And it was their argument. They didn't. In their small-minded little world, we were supposed to take everything that we saw out of Xbox and then plunk down $499 for a box that featured stuff that we didn't trust and we didn't like. Because they didn't listen to the PR. They looked at their numbers and saw what they sold. They didn't care what we said. So that really, you're going to blame me for not putting down $500 on a box that I don't want?
And I can't figure out.
That I may not be able to use? Yeah, no. So they can complain all they want. It had nothing. If Xbox One had sold out off the shelves, arms and hands and feet and legs over the PS4.
Yeah, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about
no
this.
matter what was said on Facebook. We
Yep.
wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah, you're right. It's all about numbers. It's all about their
It's not
fans.
what we said. It's what we did, and nobody bought launch editions for the Xbox One. Nobody did. So they changed their mind. So they're just being essentially fucking morons.
It's business. Then they said, "Well, we're going to lose all this business."
Right.
So we, as much as it kills us to go back and treat this like the Xbox 360 and not evolve and use the internet for what we could use.
We'll still evolve, but we're going to evolve on our terms. You're not going to stuff us in your experimental Petri dish to the price with an admission price of $499 and tell me this is how I'm going to evolve. Show me. That's all we said. Think it's such a great idea? Show me. But I am not going to pay $499 for an experiment that you say is going to work.
That's actually a really good way to put it. It really is. Because, again, we talked about day one, you try to download the game and you can't.
And they clearly didn't even know what they had. They didn't even know what they were doing because 2 weeks ago, Phil fucking Harrison was telling us that there was a used game fee that was a manufacturer suggested retail price. They didn't even know what they had.
Yeah,
they weren't even clear on the entire experiment themselves. So I wasn't going to put $499 down on it. Sue me.
Yeah, they were all
sorry.
screwed.
It was a lot of money for an experiment.
Yep, that's probably a good way to close this out. Good way to say it. It was an experiment, and the people saw the data that was coming out and couldn't figure it out. I still couldn't figure it out. I still can't. I still don't know where they're going to be.
Right. I don't think they do, too. That's the problem. They don't either.
They went back to no check-in, and it's going to be just like the 360. Well, that's not what this was designed to do. It's like we put out a race. We put out a car that can go 200 miles an hour. Well, we get speeding tickets over 55. Oh, yeah, we changed this, so now you can't go over 70. But we designed this thing to do 200.
Right. That's your problem. You're not driving it right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, on that note, you should bail out. They pissed. You pre-ordered a day one edition all by yourself. Yes, you did. So you'll have to tell us how well it works. But I am also interested to see what Xbox One numbers, how their pre-orders change in the next week.
They should get better with this.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm in the same boat as you. I think I'm gonna hold on to the PS4 pre-order. And I already paid for it anyway. I mean, I can obviously get my money back, but I think I'm gonna give that a try.
Right, I'm gonna get the PS4, just one, and I probably am gonna put a pre-order down on the Xbox One.
I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I
don't know if I'm gonna buy it, but I'm gonna put a pre-order down.
See, I gotta get two. My issue is whatever one I go with, I gotta get one so that the wife can play.
The nice thing is that you will be able to play one, and you could probably even play one, play the other, make your decisions over a period of time. Both you and your wife could play them, make your decisions, and then sell one and then buy another.
Yeah,
especially if you have pre-orders, because their values are probably going to hold.
You could try. Yeah, I just hate to throw down $1,000 in gaming systems, though.
You're going to throw down $1,000 in gaming systems anyway. The question is which gaming system. This is not a decision you want to make lightly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm gonna, but what I mean is then now I'd be $1,500 in if I had to get, the PlayStation. Then I'm gonna get
no.
two
What you do, you're going to sell it for exactly the same price you got it for.
Well, I don't know about that.
They're going to hold their price the first Christmas. You'll know within a month. They may even go up in price.
They might, but at the same time, if you get the PS4 or the Xbox One and it takes a huge dump,
yeah,
no one's going to be buying.
Right. Yeah, if there are stuff available on day one, yeah, you probably would have to lose $100. So, yeah. But it's like I said, it's worth it. Is it worth $100 to find out that you're getting a console that you want instead of making a wrong decision and being stuck $1,000 in, and then you got to sell it?
My gut still tells me the PS4 is what I want to be with.
Yeah, so far, so that's exactly what I have not heard any bad news, and we have 6 months to hear some bad news on the PS4.
Yeah. But if all my Xbox friends stick with Xbox and they go to one, and none of them carry out a PlayStation, well, now I got to start over. And the only way I can see these guys is on Xbox 360, but they'll probably are going to be on Xbox One.
We'll see. No way to know. Can't predict the future. Golly, I gotta go. It's 80 minutes in. I gotta do some actual paying work now. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.